Good morning, metalheads of the internet, and welcome to a new episode of the Metal Meltdown. I'm gonna be super transparent with y'all right off the fucking bat here. I have got a splitting headache, and I think I know where it's from. I mean, it could be from all the fucking rum and coke I drank last night at a special VIP screening of The Suicide Squad, which, awesome. Haven't been to a movie in fucking 18 months. But it's quite possibly also coming from the second Moderna shot because I'm fucking fully vaccinated, baby. I got that fucking Fauci ouchie, as some call it. And I'm hoping, since I already have autism, that the first and second shot combined will give me, like, super autism, Like, I'll get, like, superhuman strength, or I'll be able to dual wield some fucking fireball spells, Skyrim style, or some shit like that. I just want to bring this up because if through this video I seem drowsy, or I seem like I'm a little fucked up, it's because I am. On the bright side, I got Chompy to make it all better. How you doing, buddy? Anyway, let's talk about this brand new studio album from Unreqvited. Beautiful Ghost is the sixth studio album from Unreqvited, a Canadian post-rock and Blackgaze project, and the brainchild of a character known simply by the name of Ghost. Well, more specifically, he, she, they, whoever actually goes by the name of this Chinese symbol, which from what I understand, loosely translates to ghost. I don't actually know, because guess what? I'm not fucking Chinese. Here's what I do know, though. Beautiful Ghosts, the studio album, is, even by the standards of post-rock, post-metal, blackgaze, atmospheric black metal, hipster black metal, whatever the fuck we want to call this branch of extremity, is an especially lush and evocative creation. There are a lot of bold and triumphant orchestral arrangements, a lot of swelling strings, a lot of lush, pretty, melodramatic keyboard parts coupled with ferocious tremolo black metal guitar, almost reminiscent of what I would expect from other blackgaze from a band like Death Heaven. There are also some screamed vocals, very reminiscent of a band like Ghost Bath, and some cleans kind of brought into the mix as well that remind me of Lantlos a little bit. It's kind of a hodgepodge, a smorgasbord, if you will, of commonly used blackgaze and post-black metal spices and ingredients, none of which are themselves especially unique at this point. What is unique is how the band uses all of this, how Unrequited uses all of this, to explore the theme of love. As the aforementioned Ghost explains here directly, inspired by a muse, there are strong themes of love, passion, and devotion on this record. My overall vision was to capture and document my experience with the unique feeling of infatuation and attachment. And what a thoroughly enticing vision it is. This is a remarkably cathartic and immersive listen from start to finish, consistently emotionally charged and brutally honest. Ghost, Unrequited, whatever we want to call them, has bared their fucking soul for all of us to see. There is a consistently stunning contrast between the more extreme elements and between the prettier, more atmospheric, more progressive elements that makes this album consistently really captivating and engaging. The album starts off appropriately pretty melodramatic with the track All Is Lost, which has a lot of very pretty guitar and string and synth work kind of flying at you right away, weaving in and out of the forefront of the sound. It's chaotic, but not to the point of being overwhelming, and pretty emotional, but not to the point of being, like, really sappy or cheesy. I don't really care much for how the track literally fades off as opposed to delivering upon us a proper emotional climax, but all things considered, we're off to a strong start. Seeking to immediately build on the momentum and urgency of All Is Lost, Autumn Everlay tries to build up some extra tension with its own little unique introduction, one which consists of a somewhat generic but effective kind of post-hardcore piano and percussive piece. You know, it's the kind of thing I would expect from like A Day to Remember or In Fear and Faith or something along those lines. It's not the most clever, but it does mostly kind of work, in part thanks to the explosive barrage of classic melodic and atmospheric black metal influences that immediately follow. It's kind of like the equivalent to some guy barging in last minute to a wedding that he wasn't invited to and yelling, "I object," at the top of his lungs. The 1-2 hit combo of Reverie and Funeral Pyre isn't quite as effective, mind you. The former exists only really to build tension, to build atmosphere, and to make the other track look bigger and stronger by comparison. It's essentially an interlude, and it's not necessary because, again, we're really only 2 tracks into the album. It just proves to be unnecessary, too, because Funeral Pyre by itself is a genuinely pretty powerful track. I like the string work in the beginning, I like a lot of the clean vocals, I'm reminded again of the aforementioned Lantlos with a lot of the sonic textures and soundscapes here. It's a very evocative and moody piece. Unfortunately, the exact same mistake is made again with the 1-2 hit combo of Cherish and the album's title track, Beautiful Ghosts, with the former being a pretty lifeless, bland piece of piano fluff, but on the bright side, the latter is actually probably the strongest cut on the entire album. At 9.5 minutes long, it is an incredibly epic slice of Blackgaze and atmospheric and melodic black metal with chilling keyboards, fantastic guitar work, some great vocal harmonies. It's essentially Blackgaze's answer to something like November Rain. It's really a stunning number. I should note too that as much as I'm loving how pretty and lavish so much of this album is, the vocals do often feel like the odd man out. I mean, when they work, they work. They work really well, but they're also very often just kind of pushed to the background. They kind of bleed in with a lot of the guitar parts, and even when you can clearly hear the vocals, there's not really a lot being actually communicated through them. It really does boil down to a lot of screams and a lot of soft humming and singing. Again, very much taking the Ghost Bath approach here, but I think the difference is with Ghost Bath, the vocals are still a prominent feature. You know, the vocals almost act as another guitarist or a keyboardist, you know? They're consistently still working with the band, whereas here it just feels kind of forgotten. Ultimately, though, warts and all, I think Unrequited did what they set out to do. This is a record full of compassion and empathy and anguish and honesty and love, and it's all delivered through some pretty interesting and semi-unique kind of atmospheric black metal and Blackgaze. I would give this album a very enthusiastic 3 out of 5. There are definitely a lot of things that I would personally change about the record and in some cases remove entirely, but man, when this thing hits, it hits fucking hard, and it hits pretty hard specifically right in the feels. Like, as I said in the beginning, it's hard not to find yourself kind of lost within the currents and waves of this thing, to not feel for Unrequited, this ghost character, personally on some level. It really does kind of feel like me and Ghost have been sitting on my couch just kind of letting it all out, you know? I've got a box of Kleenex and a bottle of rum, and I'm just patting him on the back going, let it out, man. It's all good. I know the person in question shouldn't have done that to you. It's fucked up, dude. Like, I do feel like I went on a journey with this person. A pretty bumpy journey, but a journey nonetheless. And in the grand scheme of things, nobody remembers the bumps in the roads, you know? Nobody cares that you fucking got a flat tire somewhere in Missouri, or that you ran out of water at some point, like, before you got to the Nevada border. You just remember that eventually you reach your destination, and you had a great time, you know? And again, warts and all, I had a pretty great time with this thing. I doubt this would change the mind of a purist or an elitist who already hates post-metal and Blackgaze with all their heart, but anyone looking for something just a little bit different from your usual post-metal and Blackgaze, I think is going to be pretty excited with this release. So, again, a very enthusiastic 3 out of 5. It's got some issues, but despite all that, it's a pretty interesting and fascinating journey. And that is it for the Metal Meltdown. I'm not an expert, nor do I claim to be. So what do you think? Do you like this record? Do you not like this record? And what do you want to hear from me next? Press this button right here to subscribe to the Metal Meltdown and get updates on the channel immediately in case you somehow haven't and aren't already. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, you have yourself a fantastic fucking day.